feel like we need like the Jeopardy theme song.
All right, welcome to Aspire 2021. Today, we will be talking about vision here with our friend Anne. So Anne's going to introduce herself further in a minute, but Anne has been volunteering with us since 2017. She's been with us in Indonesia twice and Rwanda once, and has helped us with many a thing internally with Venture to Impact. So we're very excited for her to join us today. To lead us through a workshop on vision. I know a little bit about what's to come, and I have to say I'm very excited and ready to work on my vision because I think it needs some work, some time and some attention. So thank you, Anne, for being here with us today so that we can all give our personal visions a little time and attention.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Thank you for the intro, Brianna. So today, as Brianna mentioned, we're going to be talking about vision. This is something that has been very, very close to my heart, I think, over the past year, most specifically because I've been doing a lot of work on it. Vision is not something that is easy to come by, but it's definitely something that is attainable and something that we can work to build. So I just wanted to start with some technical difficulties. But vision essentially is it's key to leadership. Vision is a key leadership skill and tool that has the potential to transform your life both professionally and personally. A lot of the information that we'll be sharing today comes from Brene Brown, who's one of the leading researchers on leadership topics like vulnerability, courageous communication, and she's got all this experience, as well as a coach that I had that kind of took us through a lot of this vision work, which we'll be going through the same exercise that she put us through, and that is MMBF. If you are interested in her information, I can give you that at the end of the session. So Brene Brown has wrote a lot of books like Dare to Lead, and based on a lot of her research, one of the largest challenges is that leaders are afraid to take risks. There's a lot of fear around being dismissed and playing small, and essentially just kind of completing like what is on your to-do list today. And when we think about vision, like your personal vision just gets to describe on how you want to live, who you want to be, like what are you doing, and essentially it's going to be something that is yet unseen. It's not reality today. When you're doing vision work, you know that your vision is big enough when you sit back and you think, oh my gosh, how am I actually going to do this? How is this going to happen? So your vision really gets to be outside of your comfort zone, and it's more about coming from a place of what do I want in my life that's not there today? Why does vision matter? Without having clarity on what your vision is, you tend to kind of like aimlessly say yes to projects, people, jobs, opportunities, based on what other people are telling you, or sometimes like what they think that you should want. Most of these times, like it ends up being things that we really don't want. I mean, has anybody else found yourself saying yes to a project and afterwards you're like, that really wasn't what I was going for, or that really doesn't ring true to me? And most of the time it's because we're saying yes to what other people are telling us that we want or what we need in our life. Before I started doing my vision work, I really found that I was stuck. I was in a place that I was just really stuck. I didn't know what I wanted or where I was going. I knew something was off, but I didn't know what it was. I was doing great at work, but I just wasn't feeling fulfilled. As I started to kind of like work through some of the vision work that we're going to talk about later through this presentation, is I started to sketch out what my vision was needed to look like. And I started to realize that I had truly been raising my hand for things, projects, opportunities that really weren't, they weren't ringing true to my values. They weren't taking me to where I wanted to go, but they were supporting others in what they were doing. And by talking about truly what I wanted and the things that interest me and that excite me, it actually helped me realize that coaching and leadership are something that I truly love and I get excited about, and I want to share with others. And also I love helping others. So I want to bring others along on that journey with me. And I really started to think about, well, how can I really apply this to what I'm doing today? And then how can I make that bigger? And essentially my vision is to one day be an independent leadership coach for executive leadership teams, which is freaking scary. I don't know, like if you've ever said something and been like, whoa, I'm not there yet. That's not who I am at the moment, but that is where I want to go. I had to do a lot of reimagining of who I wanted to be. And I'm still working through how I'm going to get there. And that's okay. But I've starting to take small steps and starting to evolve into the person that I'm going to have to be in order to make that vision happen. And that is really the heart of what vision is about. So where do you begin? Because that all sounds great. So you're like, okay, well, where do I start? Vision begins with creativity and innovation, and it can't happen without either. Like I mentioned earlier, it's not about where I am, it's where I'm going. And then again, it has to be so big that you're going to grow into that person to actually really become it. The cool thing is that your vision is already within you, even though if you're like, oh no, I don't really have a vision, it really is within you. The desire and the clarity are already there. It probably has been sidelined by other people's visions, or it has been quieted by internal doubts and fears. But deep down, maybe not even that deep down, but you know what you want. And this exercise is really designed to support you in getting there. And this exercise really is what Brene would call kind of like your shitty first draft. And I will tell you, first off, my first vision was, oh, this is the house that I want, and this is the family that I want. This is how it's going to look. And these are the pets that we have. And this is the area of town that we live in. So it's very, very surface level. And that's where it started. And through kind of getting clearer with what it was through repetition and through talking it out loud and sharing it with others, I was able to go through and start to refine it and to remove the things that didn't light me up, or that when I was talking about them, I was kind of flat, or versus when I started talking about things that really kind of got me excited, and I sat up in my chair and my posture changed, and my voice inflections changed. Then like my buddies were able to kind of be like, oh, you got really excited when you talked about X, Y, and Z, but you weren't really excited when you were talking about all this other stuff. And it allowed me to really hone in on the things that I truly love and was excited to want to work on and to do. So today we are going to essentially walk through this this shitty first draft, and it doesn't have to be perfect. This is just the start. This is solely the place where we're going to begin, and we're slowly going to kind of chip away from that, and we're going to talk about it out loud, and we're going to share it with others so that we can start to weed out the things that are kind of in there that are kind of fluffy, and really get to the things that really kind of get us excited. And then it's about going deeper on those specific things, to start to then build out what that vision is going to look like. So if you think that you are at your 10-year reunion and we've gone through and waved a magic wand, and literally everything that you've ever wanted has happened. Like you have your dream job, your dream house, a family, you're making your dream impact, like literally everything that you've ever wanted has like come to fruition. So I want everybody to take out a piece of paper or pull up a quip or a Word doc if you prefer to type. And then we're going to go through and we're going to write our shitty first draft. It's going to be, we're going to take 5 minutes. And I know that sounds like, oh my gosh, that's zero time. It's 5 minutes specifically to kind of just get the juices flowing. Again, this is a first draft. It doesn't have to be perfect. You'll go through and refine it as we're kind of jumping into breakout sessions. But we're then going to jump into breakout rooms, and we're going to be paired up with one other person. And then we're going to tell them what our vision is. And it is amazing how much speaking it out loud starts to kind of make it real. And then you can kind of feel out what things feel good, what things are like, no, this really doesn't fit anymore. And then you can refine, you can take things out. You can also borrow from other people's visions. A lot of what I heard the first time is I heard other people's visions and I was like, oh, I never talked about that. Oh, I forgot about that. And you can kind of start to mold it into yours and make it your own. And then you can speak it out loud and see what actually feels true to you and what just doesn't, what falls flat. So we are going to jump into breakout rooms, and we have some inspirational questions to kind of think about this as you're kind of going through it. And so we'll go through and take about 5 minutes to write your first draft on your vision. And then we'll come back and then we'll start jumping into our breakout rooms. And I'll play some music. Okay. Is everybody ready? Okay, now that we have our first draft of our vision written down, we're going to jump into a couple breakout rooms of 2 people. So each person is going to share their vision for 2 minutes. And I want somebody to keep a clock or keep a timer as everybody's sharing, because if you don't use up all the time, I want your buddy to say, what else? What else? What else? Until you finally fill up all the 2 minutes. So we'll be in breakout rooms for 5 minutes. So each person has the 2 minutes with about a minute buffer in between to switch. And it looks like we'll be doing this about once, but I would say if you get the opportunity to go and share it with other people that are outside of this group, it's really about saying it out loud, that we start to ask ourselves, like, is this what I really want? And by practicing this over and over and over again, you may feel that you don't feel great about it, or maybe that's not really what you wanted. And that's the opportunity that you have to then start to edit and start to focus on the things where you really do get excited about what you have. And for our viewers at home, if you're going through this by yourself, I would recommend that you find at least 2 to 3 people to share your vision with, and then just get feedback from them on, like, when you got excited, how did your posture change? What does your body language look like when you're sharing your vision with them? Because those are those nonverbal cues that we're telling others that we may not be picking up on ourselves. So Brianna, do you want to go ahead and pop everybody into breakout rooms?
Yes. So just when you get the notification to join a room, make sure you join it, and we'll see you there.
How was it? As we get everybody back.
I can say that it was scary to say some of the things aloud.
Sometimes it's not until you say those scary things out loud do they start to possibly become something that you might actually be able to do. Any other comments or feelings?
Kim, do you mind if I don't go into detail, but share one of the things I appreciated about your vision?
Sure, that's fine.
Okay. So Kim was just sharing that like there's something that she and some friends have discussed doing together. But she made sure to write her vision about what she wants, which I just saw the connection back to at the beginning when you said, when we don't have a vision, we often say yes to things that maybe we don't actually want or are more focused around another person's vision. So yeah, I just appreciated that connection of how we need to first figure out what we want and what our vision is. And if other people are part of our vision, that's great. And they definitely can be, but also figuring out what our personal vision is.
Mm-hmm. And it's really, sometimes we kind of fall into that, just check the boxes. And that's when we start to say yes to the things that may be others' vision, but not necessarily our own. And when things get busy and when things get hectic, if we do have our own personal vision of like what we're trying to accomplish and long term, what we're looking to do, then it also helps us to make better choices on the things that we do say yes to. Because you're able to go back and say, does this align with my vision? Does this align with my values? If the answer is no, then maybe that's not something that you should be saying yes to. Awesome. As you kind of like move forward with your vision, to further refine. So once you have your vision in mind, you start to ask reflection questions. So like, in what ways does my life currently resemble my vision? So have I already checked off some of these boxes that are already in place? It's okay if nothing aligns yet, but just notice it and be able to kind of like write it down. Because that awareness is the first step before we really start to make change. And then in other ways, like, what does my life not currently resemble my vision? If the answer is nothing and everything is aligning, that's awesome. Then you kind of go back to your dream life and then go bigger. Because there's always a next level. There's always a next step. As you kind of start to build out, like, how do we take this vision and actually make it actionable? You can start to look at 3 concrete steps that you can take to move toward your vision. And see how that feels. See what they feel, what they feel like. You can ask yourself, like, what will happen or what won't happen if I take these 3 steps? And then define, am I committed to taking these? And this should be 3, these 3 steps, which is a pretty easy answer. It's either a yes or a no. Sometimes we are yes, we're all in. Sometimes it's a no. And that's okay. sometimes we might not always be ready to take those steps. And it's to kind of looking back and saying, okay, what about this? Does this make sure, is this still aligning with what I want to do and where I want to go? Because it could be that it might not be, and it might not align with what your vision is at the moment. And then to go back and refine and see if that makes a difference. In a term of next steps, it's really going out and share your vision with at least 3 more people and ask them to do the same thing. Ask them to tell you about the parts of your vision when you get excited, when you're not so excited. What are the things that actually make you light up from the inside when you're talking about these things or these dreams that you have? And get that feedback to further then rinse and repeat and refine and make adjustments, make changes. And even if you said it 3 times and then the 4th time, you're like, oh, this really doesn't sit with me anymore. Maybe it's time to either pull that out or reprioritize something else that was within your vision. Ask if your vision aligns with your values. I know that Brianna is going to walk through some value work over this week. So going through what she's going to present and making sure that it aligns with your values. And also checking in with your vision on a regular cadence that works for you, whether that's weekly, whether that's monthly, whether that's quarterly. It's entirely personal and what works for you. And I just want to thank you for joining us today and seeing if we have any questions that are out there.
No questions, but I wrote down my action steps and I'm excited to start working on them.
Very nice.
Okay, well, thank you, Anne, for leading us through this process, man, words today, for creating our vision. And as Anne mentioned, tomorrow we are talking about how to realign with your values. So whether you already know what your values are, and you feel like maybe you've been drifting because times are hard, and you need to figure out how do you get back aligned, or whether you haven't identified your values for yourself yet. If you're in either position, come join us tomorrow, same time, same place, to talk about our values. And then Wednesday, we'll be talking about collaboration and kindness. And Thursday, we'll be talking about navigating fear and anxiety. All key things that we think are relevant to how we can reimagine and evolve our lives from this time and moving forward. So we now know where we are going now that we have our vision, and now we just need some supporting pieces to help us get there. So thank you, Anne. Thank you, everybody, for joining. And for those of you who rewatch this recording, thank you for watching.